Hey guys, welcome back. Now, the number one most important thing investors have to decide is asset allocation. Where do we put our money and by what percentage? Now, one of the key parts of this channel is showing what other major investors are doing with their own money, including Warren Buffett, we have Ray Dalio, Cathie Wood, Michael Burry, and today, for those interested, this is what I'm doing with my own money, and we'll be covering the following things: what my personal plan was for 2023 and why it suddenly changed, then the 2 crypto purchases that I have just made, and then we'll finish with looking at my own crypto portfolio and what my asset allocation looks like as of right now. Okay, so first up, at the beginning of the year, I created a plan for 2023 on how I was going to navigate this crypto winter. However, then this happened. Now, many of you may have heard or have seen people selling their houses and taking out loans to invest in crypto when the market was ripping higher, close to its all-time highs. Well, my plan was to sell my apartment and invest the money when fear was at its maximum, the market was in turmoil, and invest near the bottom. And I was looking for a sub 20k Bitcoin. Then, frustratingly, the sale of the property got delayed, then delayed, and then delayed. And a 1-bed apartment that had no chain took over 6 months to complete. And ironically, when property gets cryptoed and tokenized in the future, then it will become more liquid and property sales will probably go through in a couple of weeks. However, because we're still early in crypto, it took 6 months. I sat and watched and, to be honest, shed a small tear as Bitcoin did in fact drop below 20,000, even down to as low as 15,000. But by the time I got access to the money, it had almost doubled and was back above 25,000. And so one lesson here is that sometimes things just don't go your way. As the Stoics like to point out, sometimes it feels like life is happening for you, and sometimes shit happens. Now, I know there's a good chance that if recession hits and it's a bad one, then crypto can take another nosedive and test new lows. But I always have Ray Dalio's voice in my head, which says, what if I am wrong? What if the bottom is in fact in and crypto just builds back up from here? Then I'd be stuck mainly in cash. And so what to do? Well, I like the philosophy of being able to benefit in either direction. So it was to take 1/3 of the money and invest it now, and then keep 2/3 on the sideline in case we get a big crash. And so now I had some money to invest in crypto, and this brings us nicely onto the 2 new buys. So this is a company that I use for buying and selling stocks, and this is, for people in Europe, it's called Trading 212, a very good commission-free investing platform. And for anyone who wants to get a free stock up to £100, I do have a link below this video where we both get a free stock if you're interested. But what I want to draw your attention to is this part here, and in the UK we can get a stocks and shares ISA, which I think in the US the closest thing is called a Roth IRA, and anything that you invest in here becomes tax free. So if things double, triple, quadruple, all of your capital gains are tax free. And unlike the US, we can invest up to the equivalent of $25,000 every single year. So using this at Trading 212, and then in combination, once we had the ridiculously, insanely bullish news of BlackRock filing for a Bitcoin ETF, and then also Fidelity, and they both were planning on using Coinbase, I think you can see where I'm going with this. So the first purchase was Coinbase, and I'd still class this as crypto, as if crypto goes on a tear, Coinbase will go on a tear, and if crypto dies, then Coinbase will die. So although it's stocks, I would classify it as crypto. And also looking at Coinbase stock, from its all-time high, it was still down over 80%. That means you can get a 400% gain by just getting back to where it was. And this isn't even taking into account the next bull market, which you would assume is going to be a lot higher. So for a potential 400% gain just to get back, and all the gains being tax-free, Coinbase was the first buy. And as the BlackRock news hit, it had had its low at around $53 when the SEC said they were going to sue Coinbase. Then the BlackRock news hit, and I made my purchase half at 55 and half at about 59. So in the space of about 1.5 weeks, my current investment is up around 30%. So 30% gain in just a week and a half. So far, so good. And the second purchase was betting on a scaling solution for Ethereum. And that one is Optimism. And this is a layer 2 scaling solution for Ethereum, which is low cost and lightning fast. And I love the name Optimism, as I do see myself as an optimistic person. But there was two things that really put this on the map for me. And the first one was Coinbase, when they announced that they were going to build their own Ethereum layer 2 solution called Base, which was going to be a safe, low-cost way to build and bring in the next 1 billion people. And what is Base based off? The OP stack in collaboration with Optimism. So Coinbase had selected Optimism. That for me was huge news. And then even more recently, we've had Binance and BNB Chain doing the same. And they've just created a testnet for a layer 2 that delivers low fees, high throughput, unlocking the full potential of the BNB chain. And again, they are using Optimism. So over 4,000 TPS and an average gas fee of 0.005. And for the vast majority of use cases, this is fast enough. So this is called OpBNB. And then finally, just to point out that Optimism is my big speculative high-risk bet for the next bull market. So typically, my risk profile, I'd only stay really in the top 10. And for me, the other 25,990, I would class as junk. I have before ventured into the top 20, but I don't really go below. So Optimism, it first got on my radar and it was positioned over 100. Unfortunately, by the time I'd pulled the trigger, it now is sitting in about 50. And one key thing that I look at is its market cap, not necessarily its price. So if you're interested, I got in at $1.35, so it is just up very slightly, and this is going to fluctuate a lot. When the market cap is this small, expect 10, 20, 30% swings very, very often. So this is not even $1 billion, but let's round it up to 1 billion just to keep this simple. So the bet is that this is going to do well, and for this 1 billion, it's going to be relatively straightforward if things go well to get to 10 billion, if not 20. But as it stands, 1 billion, and remember, how big is Ethereum right now? 236 billion. So Optimism is tiny. Now, another scaling solution is Polygon, and this is already 6 billion, so 6 times the size. So it's a 6x just to get where Polygon is right now. So those are the two big bets, Coinbase and Optimism. And then just finishing up with the asset allocation. So this is how my crypto portfolio looks right now, heading into the next bull market. So my biggest bet is Ethereum with 55% in Ethereum. And if you saw my last video, that explains the reasons why. I then have a good bet on Coinbase, a good bet on Optimism, and then a smaller bet on BNB. And for those of you who remember, before the big crash happens, I did also invest a very small piece into Floki, the meme coin, but it was such a tiny slither, it's not really worth putting on. And here's another big lesson when it comes to asset allocation. Unless you get the full picture of where everybody is investing, this can be very misleading. Oftentimes, we only get a slice of the full asset allocation. So always make sure that you know what you're looking at. But for me, as it stands of today, this is the bigger picture. And now you can see it's actually only 44% that is invested in crypto. And the much bigger piece now taking advantage of the higher rates in cash. So this is also generating cash flow every month with 56.5% now in cash. And as mentioned, if risk assets go on a tear, I'm going to do very well. If there is another major downturn, then I've got a good chunk of cash to take full advantage. And the next 6 months is going to be very, very interesting. The plan this year unfortunately didn't work out, and due to massive delays, I missed the bottom and was stuck in cash. And as Mike Tyson once said, everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face. And so the new plan is invest 1/3 of the money now in case Moon, and then keep 2/3 on the sideline in case of another big crash. My latest buys, for reasons already discussed, is a bet on Coinbase and a bet on Optimism. And I've also updated my if-then scenarios. If crypto does in fact go up from here, then I'll be riding it all the way up with a sell target of around $100,000 Bitcoin. And if everything does go down and Bitcoin drops below 20,000, well, then it's all in, baby. So there you are, guys. Hope you enjoyed. So that's my plan, and let me know your comments below. But just know I am trying out a new thing with the commenting system below, and to get rid of all the spam and trading bots, and for you guys to get any of your questions and comments, opinions, or just to say thanks, then below the video use the super thanks button, and this way I can read and reply to every single comment and remove 100% of the spam. And for now, just to say, if you did enjoy anything in the video, then drop a like, and a big thank you to everyone who does, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.